Okay, everyone, welcome to the October 7th, 2022 meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavers Creek. I would like to thank Don Adams and Alex Zahara for bailing out Stephen Brown and Mike Canada for not being our greeters today. Eric Marcus, thank you for being our ticket master. Pete Bells, Mark Whiteside, and Mike Zwick for the great programs, and Jim Gutler for our website. Thank you all. And with that, Mr. Denny Jarvie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Would you please join me in prayer? Oh, Holy Creator, thank you for this absolutely gorgeous fall weather you brought us. Thank you for the bonds of Rotary between us and the worries behind us, the goals before us, and no task beyond us, for the thirst of knowledge and for the dream of a polio-free world. We're thankful for our Rotary friends and the meal we're about to share. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Denny.
Hey, you fix the camera over there?
And what?
Check the phone. Thank you.
Well, you don't you?
Yeah. Needed to do rounds. Check, said, hey, I'm ready to just camera.
Oh, that's the irony there is palpable. Okay, Joe, your report.
We are at 39%. So I need to add 2 more people. We have several guests today. I have a guest, Drew Ayers. He's right here. He's an investigation attorney with the National Science Foundation. Stephen Brown has a guest. Teresa Matson, she is with the Fish Food Pantry. Right there, Teresa. We have Matt, you have a guest. Madison. Then we have a speaker, then we got a Josh. There you are right there. There you are right there. That's it.
Wonderful. Any other ones? Are we missing one?
That's it.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry, Sergeant at Arms. Welcome back, Don. Yeah. Practice while you were gone.
That's not even enough to get me up.
Don
is back. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been up here. I don't know if I remember how to do this. But I want to thank Brian for filling in for me. Today is October 7th, 2022. It's the 280th day of the year. It's only 85 days left in this year. It's amazing how fast it's gone. Today is also National Bathtub Day, National Kids Music Day, National Body Language Day. So I'm watching you guys to see what your body language is today. National Flower Day, National Frappe Day, National Inner Beauty Day, National Personal Safety Day, World Smile Day, and You Matter to Me Day. This week we also celebrate Fire Prevention Week, Drive Safely Work Week, Customer Service Week, and Animal Welfare Week, and National Walk Your Dog Week. I would hope you walk your dog more than once a week, or 1 week a year. This day in history, in 1882, the first World Series game, Cincinnati Red Stockings beat the Chicago White Sox 4-0. In 1889, the Moulin Rouge opened up in Paris. In 1893, Nabisco Foods invented cream of wheat. I think we all remember that from when we were younger. In 1945, tavern owner Billy Goat Siennas bought a seat for his goat for Game 4 of the Baseball World Series and was escorted out and cast a goat curse on the Chicago Cubs. Probably why they don't win anymore. In 1949, U.S. President Harry Truman signed the Mutual Defense Assistance Act, which was NATO. And something is near to Rotary. In 1956, Albert Sabin announced that his oral polio vaccine is ready for testing, and it would soon supplant Joseph Salk's vaccine in many parts of the world. In 1961, JFK advised Americans to build fallout shelters. And in 1967, Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco's the hippies threw a funeral for October 7th, 2023, when Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor of California. And in the Rotary Club, Beavercreek Rotary Club, my candidate, who is playing golf today, his birthday was on October 2nd. We have a couple of member anniversaries. Pete Bales, 3 years. Beth Handworker, 0 years. That's interesting. Didn't notice that before. And Paul Otten, 6 years. And we have a wedding anniversary that was yesterday. Brandon and his lovely wife, Ashley, at the anniversary. In the news, New York Yankees slugger Aaron Judge blasted his 62nd home run of the year Tuesday night in Texas, making him baseball's greatest single-season long ball hitter outside of MLB's notorious steroid period. And in a sad news, Super Bowl winning quarterback Tom Brady and his supermodel wife have both retained divorce lawyers. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson made history this week as she began her run on the Supreme Court. She's the first Black woman ever appointed to the court. And I said this is on again, but now I hear it might be off again. That's Elon Musk and Twitter. I don't know if they'll ever settle that one. And I kind of got a chuckle out of this one. Maitland Jones Jr. is one of the nation's top organic chemistry professors. He was tenured at Princeton, wrote an influential textbook, retired, and went to teach at NYU on an annual contract basis, where he won awards for his teaching. He was sacked this week after 82 of his 350 students in his course signed a petition because they said their low scores demonstrated his course was too hard. And I know you're in nursing, you don't do that. And then 2 fishermen were allegedly caught cheating at a walleye fishing tournament in Ohio this week after putting lead weights in their fish.
Allegedly? Yeah, you see it? Oh, it was really bad.
Well, not only lead weights, but walleye fillets.
Yeah.
When I was out with my son the other day, I told him what I do here, and he said, why don't you tell people about the sayings and their origins, different sayings that come up. So I thought I'd try that, see what it is. Bite the bullet, meaning accepting something difficult or unpleasant. The history is there was no time to administer anesthesia before emergency surgery during battle, so the surgeon made the patients bite down on a bullet and attempt to distract them from their pain. Blood is thicker than water. The meaning is family comes before everything else. But the history of it is in ancient Middle Eastern culture, blood rituals between men symbolized bonds that were far greater than those of family. The saying also had to do with blood brothers, because warriors who symbolically shared blood that shed in battle together were said to have a stronger bond than biological brothers. Butter someone up. The meaning is to flatter someone. The history of it is an ancient Indian custom involved throwing balls of clarified butter at statues of their gods to seek favor. Can't gut your tongue. The meaning, something said when a person is at a loss for words. The history, though, is there are 2 possible sources for this common short saying. The first refers to the cat of 9 tails, a whip used by English Navy for flogging. The whip caused so much pain that the victims were left speechless. The second refers to the practice of cutting out the tongues of liars and blasphemers and feeding them to cats. Go the whole 9 yards, meaning to try one's best. History behind this is in World War II, fighter pilots received a 9-yard chain of ammunition. Therefore, when a pilot used up all of his ammunition on one target, he gave it the whole 9 yards. And then rule of thumb. I've got a kick out of this one. The meaning is a common ubiquitous benchmark. The history is, legend has it, in the 17th century, English judge Sir Francis Buller ruled that it was permissible for a husband to beat his wife with a stick, given that the stick was no wider than his thumb. Those that didn't get any reaction on that one. Patient said, "Doctor, you have to help me. I think I can see the future." And the doctor says, "When did it start?" "Next Friday." There are 4 stages of old age. You forget names, then you forget faces, then you forget to zip up, and finally, you forget to zip down. There was a businessman boarded an international flight and found a fancy young woman seated next to him wearing a large diamond ring. During the flight, he asked her about the ring. "It's the Kloppman diamond, but it comes with a terrible curse." "What's the curse?" he said. "Mr. Kloppman." I kind of became in conversations with kids. Growing up, never asked me what my 3rd favorite reptile is. A man and a woman were having a quiet, romantic dinner in a fine restaurant. They were gazing lovingly at each other and holding hands. The waitress, taking another order at her table a few steps away, suddenly noticed the woman slowly sliding down her chair. But the man stared straight ahead. The waitress watched as the woman slid all the way down her chair and totally out of sight under the table. Still, the man stared straight ahead. The waitress, thinking this behavior was a bit risque and worried that it might offend other diners, went over to the table and tactfully began to say to the man, "Pardon me, but I think your wife just slid under the table." The man calmly looked up and said, "No, she didn't. She just walked in." And I think some of us can relate to this one. Speaking to her 93-year-old grandfather, a young woman asked, "Grandpa, what were your good old days?" Grandpa's replied, "When I wasn't good and I wasn't old." An 8-year-old girl asked her father, "Daddy, what's sex?" The father is somewhat surprised that she would ask such a question, but he reckons she's old enough to answer. If she asks a question, then she deserves an answer. So the father proceeded to tell his daughter all about the birds and the bees. After a brief explanation, the girl appears wide-eyed in disbelief. "By the way, dear, why do you ask?" The little girl replies, "Mommy told me to tell you dinner would be ready just a couple of seconds." Couple of things. If the person that named walkie-talkies named everything, stamps would be licky sticky. Defibrillators, hurdy starty. Bumblebees, fuzzy buzzy. Pregnancy test, maybe baby. Nightmare, screamy dreamy. And I'm not hard of hearing. I've just heard enough. And then I'll end with this last one here. God grant humility to forget the people I never liked anyway. The good fortune to run into the ones I do, and the eyesight to tell the difference. Prayer. Leave you with a couple positive quotes, as I always do. It's only after you've stepped outside your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. And life is about accepting challenges along the way, choosing to keep moving forward and savoring the journey. I learned that when I was riding motorcycles, you always savor the journey, not about the destination. Today's fine. If you have taken a bath in the last week, that's $1. If you've had cream of wheat this year, that's $1. If you've ever been to Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, that's $1. If you built a fallout shelter, that's $1. If you're not wearing your Rotary pin, that's $1. And if you came in late, this is something that my predecessor used to say all the time. If you came in late, that's $2. And Brandon, back to you for happy golf.
Thank you, sir.
It'd been worse.
Okay, who's got happy bucks? Oh, wow.
I got a couple, I got two also.
Okay, Rick first.
Okay, Rick.
By the way, this is everyone, Rick for Allen.
Don't even. That's, you can do better now. So I have one because I was just at the Sochi 55th year anniversary, and everyone knows Cassie Barlow is in charge there. They've done a wonderful job of helping to work our kids through college, give them internships, and then help our workforce. So she had a tent full, and a lot of people there, probably several people from here were there as well. So when you see Cassie, congratulate her. And I think you probably already know her mother just passed. And so she was very close with her mother, so you might want to give her a condolence. On was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday. We had the Blue Star families had an event over at the Greentown Center to, and Brian, you were there, right? Yeah. To nourish the service. And it was to support our service families with food. And believe it or not, many of them can't afford food. They don't pay much in the military. So we had 400 boxes times, I don't know how much.
400 bucks for the food, 400 bucks for the hygiene plus some soap and.
Exactly. You can give a buck too. Our pantry was there too, well represented, but it's just, it warms your heart to see people that understand what vets go through and their families go through, and they're willing to thank them and support them the way they did. Brian had some very nice words. Thank you for being out there. So Brian can dump $1 for that.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, I gave my 3 months already.
Come get some.
First one from myself, we posted that on Facebook. We visited out there. I went out there afterwards, some stuff I also great that you had out there. Each month we host a Beavercreek Matters meeting where we discuss topics related to Beavercreek. The third Thursday of each month, this Thursday, on the 20th, it'll be about the levy issues, all the issues on the ballot, issues 1 and 2 from the state. Issues 3 and 4 are for those Beavercreek Township residents who are living in certain areas of Beavercreek, Xenia School District. Issue 8 is the county's issue, and issues 10 or 11 are Beavercreek City's issue. We'll discuss all of those. My third one is, it's a great one also. This past month, I was elected to be vice president of the Miami Valley Military Affairs Association. That's it. And that'll be great. It'll be a great organization for the next few years to be part of.
Nice, congrats. Anyone else? Ma'am.
Representing Troop 17 today, Boy Scout Troop out of Eden will be selling walking tacos at the Apple Butter Festival. If anybody's still inclined, apple butter's delicious. The line's crazy, so get there early if you want apple butter.
What are the hours of the festival this weekend?
It's Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 6. Oh, in Eden. It's no blink.
Right.
You can get a 2 for 2. This weekend is Yellow Springs Street Fair on Saturday. So you can do Yellow Springs and then go over, get all your apple butter cravings taken care of there. I live 5 minutes from both, so it's convenient. Anyone else? Okay, Shannon?
So a couple of things. In the scout note, my kid gets to go out and feed some Cub Scouts this weekend. So they're doing like a Cub Scout event. We volunteer to come out and teach some scout skills and then cook them a good lunch. So if you're not doing anything at Angels Pass Park on Saturday, we'll be feeding some scouts, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of food. So feel free to stop there. The other thing is, I gave a happy buck. I have been working on a permit to enclose a porch for 6 months. Today I got the approval on that permit, which is pending.
Bureaucracy.
The basement I'm working on, I got it in a week, 6 months to enclose a porch.
Don't question the bureaucracy. Let's go with it. Anyone else? Okay. Take a drawing here. We've got number 117745. 5-1.
Yeah, Jeff.
You can go, you're going, I don't wanna be, I don't wanna be responsible. Okay.
Alex is drawing.
Yeah.
A card.
Black Rose.
Hawk Rose. And for our guests, we do a 50-50 raffle every week. And if you win, you obviously get half, but all the proceeds, the other half, go to our Christmas basket project. We're doing baskets to local families. Any announcements for the club? Okay, I've got a couple. Thank you to those who came out on Monday. That was great at Rez's. I had never been to Rez's either. Very nice coffee place down there on Fairfield on the south side of Beavercreek. So definitely check out Rez's. Can't remember where next month's is. I'll put in the email later this month. Do we need any more volunteers at the Torta Gym right now?
Anybody's welcome to come out.
Okay, so we're good. But if you still are feeling motivated, want to come volunteer on Sunday at the Torta Gym, we'd love to have you. What's the name of the, where's that again?
It's at Trayvine.
Trayvine Elementary. Okay, Trayvine Elementary, Sunday from like 11 to 3-ish. Feel free to come out. And lastly, obviously this will go out in email. October 21st meeting is business as usual, but we're going to sneak into 3 local levy issues for Beavercreek. So we are going to give Dawn a week off on the 21st for Go the Sergeant's Report, cover the 3 levies very briefly, and then have our regular scheduled program that day. So that's October 21st. So go to Brian's event on the 20th, come to this one on the 21st, and you will be the most educated voter in Beavercreek. The bar is probably pretty low for that, but still tune out, show up. Sir.
There is one more thing. Tomorrow, from 10 to 12 at Latino Park, we're having a meet and greet with first responders for special needs kids. We've got about 200 to 250 kids coming out to meet with the fire department, police department, sheriff's department. We want to get everybody comfortable with each other. The fire department's going to put turnout gear on and take it off so the kids realize that's just a person under there, because they can be pretty scary.
That's 10 to 12 at Lafino. Okay. Is Alex doing that too, putting the gear on and off?
I don't think so.
Ah,
I'll do that here, I guess.
sir.
I got an announcement as well on October 15th, the city of Beaver Creek and Beaver Creek Township. City of Beaver Creek will have their Trier truck, so you get to go down and get on all sorts of equipment, from city equipment to township equipment to county equipment, police cars, and we'll have a ladder truck or an engine down there. At the same time, at the fire station will be the fire prevention open house. We'll have car seat checks. The prosecutor's office, along with the sheriff, will have the identify kid with the cards there. Care Flight will be there. We'll be actually burning something so the kids can see how fire spreads and everything else. So it's a great turnout. And I've been told there'll probably be food trucks either at one location or both locations. So well, come to either one, you can walk down to the other and see both events.
Wonderful. Thank you. And sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize. The dictionary delivery time, folks. I got a few folks that have signed up. The sign up sheets in my truck. I'll go get it and bring it in. So please see me when you get you signed up for a school. My goal is to have them delivered before or right around Thanksgiving. So we got them, you know, the drill. If they're at my office, you call the school, you schedule it. Come the day before to my office, pick up the books, deliver them. The students love it. It's a great time. Team with another Rotarian, maybe someone who has done it before, and that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So anyway, that's up and running. So I'll go get the sign-in sheets. We do have several schools still open.
Thank you. Also, yeah, I was clowning Rick Prowlis, but you know, I know a lot of you all have professional lives and a lot of responsibilities. Same for Commissioner. I did want to thank him. The ARPA funds that were granted to the area, they did a lot of grants for nonprofits, and 25,000 of which went to the Beavercreek wetlands. That check was cashed yesterday. It's nice. That's going all right back into the community for the Spotted Turtle Trail, which we're nearing the completion of phase 2. And tomorrow, if you feel very generous, we're having a major donors event right here So I'll be back here tomorrow for the Beavercreek Wetlands. So if you're feeling like you just want to burn a hole in your pocket, please come on by and support your local wetland association. But thank you, and tell Tom Kugler every week he doesn't come, it's $1. So it's been too long. So that said, I'd like to turn it over. Where's Mr. Pete Bales? There he is. All you, sir. Mike's right there. Like,
Well, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. I appreciate Mr. Daniel Donahue coming out. We had a speaker kind of change last minute, and so I appreciate you pulling this together on Kettering's behalf and coming to us. So let me introduce him, give you a little bit of background. Colonel retired Daniel Donahue served 27 years in the United States Air Force before coming to Kettering about a year ago. He was deployed 9 times, the first deployment being in Bosnia in 1998, and his last combat deployment was to Syria, supporting the 5th Special Forces Group as a Special Operations Surgical Team Leader. He performed aeromedical evacuation duties as well as critical care transport duties over the skies of Iraq and Afghanistan. During his last tour of duty, which is now a let me see, I think I missed something here. During his last tour of duty, Dan was uniquely positioned to help write a course curriculum for the critical care technician enlisting training course, which is now a staple in the robust suite of Kettering Health civilian military partnerships. He is married to his wife, Amanda, of 20 years, and they have a 15-year-old daughter, Grace, who's a freshman at Dayton Christian. So please welcome Daniel Donahue. Can everybody hear me, or do I need to use the microphone? I'll try to talk loud. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come today on behalf of Daniel Tryon and the rest of the executive team. Eric Christensen is one of those folks. He's a Marine, so he doesn't mind being mentioned last. So we really appreciate the opportunity to come and present a little bit about some things that I'm very passionate about talking about. One is community. Having traveled and been in multiple different communities and moving up multiple times over the last couple of decades, we've really found a home here in Ohio and specifically Dayton. So being able to plug in the community and have these opportunities and meet each of you is a very special event for me. So I appreciate that. So I love talking about the community. I really love talking about the healthcare profession specifically, and most of all, I love talking about myself. So great, appreciate the introduction. But we'll let's see if we can figure out how to flip through these slides. Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So a little bit about me. Obviously, some of my military background. That was actually the picture on the left was a picture of from my very last active deployment in Syria. This is my daughter Grace. We do again love to get out in the community and support different events. That was Veterans Day. I think we were putting down some flags at the National Cemetery there. My wife, my beautiful wife there, holding that little sign. I was actually holding it for her. So I had been for the longest time the person traveling and going everywhere. This Amanda, she's now a travel agent. So she had traveled and she was coming home. So I wanted to have a proper greeting. So I held a sign for her like she was somebody like a VIP. So that's her there. And then this is we love to travel, get out, and obviously really enjoy doing local community events. So that's my position there. I'm the director of nursing at Soin. I'm over the ICU, the intermediate care unit, the 3rd floor, which was our COVID unit there. I have some other cats and dogs along as well. So dialysis, some PIC nurses, some wound nurses. So it's a pretty robust team and a very complete book of work. Very blessed to have landed at Kettering. To me, it was a great values proposition. The values that I had learned and was instilled in the Air Force translated very well to what Kettering had to offer. So I was very excited to join Kettering. If you're not familiar with the Kettering Network story, just real briefly, the 2 folks here traveled to, I think they're in the picture. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are, but Eugene and Virginia Kettering had traveled up to a hospital near Chicago during the polio pandemic. They saw the work that the Adventist
Adventist Church was doing there, was really, really impressed and wanted to bring something like that back to the Dayton area as a legacy for their father. So that's how Kettering Health was born. They came back and built the hospital in the 60s. They left wanting to bring that model of healthcare to Southwest Ohio, donating the land to build the community hospital, which is the main hospital of our system today. Again, following part of the innovation is one of the legacies of Charles F. Kettering, who again is named after, and who the kids brought the hospital back to honor. Grounded in innovation, he had over 180 patents. If you're not familiar with their story, there's actually a display in Kettering Main Hospital that speaks to his different inventions and his impact to the community and really to the world when you start looking through all the different types of things. It is definitely still woven into the culture of healthcare that we deliver to be innovative, forward thinking, and bringing therapies and bringing those things directly to our communities and to the best extent possible, really serve our communities well. So who we are today with years and years of innovation, we're at 13 medical centers. We have 120 outpatient locations. We have the Kettering Health Medical Group, 700 board certified physicians. So as a nurse, that number is kind of scary to me. That's like a lot of bosses telling me what to do. We're very, very fortunate to have a robust team of providers in this community serving our all our family members and friends. Kettering College is a fully accredited college that specializes in health science education, and they're doing some very unique things across the board, trying to build new health clinicians as quickly as possible, taking on a lot of burden there, actually even supporting some folks from Ukraine right now, providing some education for those folks. So they're doing some unique things there as well. If anyone has questions along the way, feel free to raise your hand and speak out. I'll be glad to field lots of questions. I did bring some backup with me today. So Dr. Watson is our chief medical officer at Soin, the hospital that I particularly work out right over here. So if I don't know the answer, I'm sure he'll know the answer. And if he doesn't know the answer, we'll get back to you. Go ahead.
The health innovations that you guys are doing.
So health innovations that we're doing, that's a great question. So there's everything from modeling and simulation. There's always new technologies that are being brought on board. So a lot of what we're doing is taking existing technologies that are out there and folding them into our healthcare system. So an example of that would be we had a very generous donor through the Green Medical Foundation. We were able to purchase some life-saving equipment in the ICU. The piece of equipment that we ended up purchasing was a very detailed bedside scanner, an ultrasound that our intensivists have had training on in larger facilities and level 1 trauma centers, but not necessarily had access to at the bedside. So we were able to bring that to the bedside. And now they're able to do, instead of having to send a patient from the ICU in a high-risk maneuver of packaging them up, putting them in an elevator, very scary, sending them to the first floor, we're able to do some of those scans right at the bedside. And we're working on getting those to be able to be delivered directly into the healthcare medical records, so that it becomes a part of people's permanent records. And so that if they have another future follow-on visit, the providers don't have to guess what happened. They'll know definitively and be able to see it. So that's just one example. Yeah, I appreciate the question. So specifically here was asked to talk about our military and civilian partnerships that we have going on. So this was a slide that Eric uses in different presentations when he's speaking to Eric Christensen, retired F-18 pilot, part of our process excellence team, is also the lead for the network in setting up these military civilian partnerships. So everything I'm speaking to, Eric is an authority on what those agreements look like and what do those partnerships look like, and really helping to build that. And we're very lucky to have him steering that. And I've been very fortunate to come along and help partner with him. I was actually in the Air Force when one of these programs was built, so it was exciting. It was actually either going to be Soin or it was going to go to I believe it was going to go to Nebraska, University of Nebraska Medical Center. So I was very excited when they announced that it was going to be coming to Kettering Network, and we were going to be able to provide that support. So I'll speak to that here in just a minute. Our partnership, obviously, with Wright-Patterson allows us to do two of the following things: helping to educate and train, which is huge. And I'm going to talk specifically to this enlisted critical care training course, what that looks like in our hospital, literally a few doors down from my office that I get to participate in. And then we also, again, want to be that location. We want to be that provider of choice for those military families when they don't have access to different things on base. We want to be able to be the position to be the provider and provide world-class care to those families, feeding those families, supporting those families. It really takes a community. There's a huge burden that goes into not only deploying, but even getting ready to deploy, learning your job skill, and the folding into a community in a short period of time just to be moving on. So that was my experience. It was when I would move, we'd spend the first year trying really hard to plug into a community, but then knowing in a year or two we were leaving, it becomes very easy to start disconnecting. And so just having that support can really have a lasting impact on those families to want to choose to come back here. And there are a lot of folks that I've spoken to that all speak to what a amazing opportunity that they have of being here at Wright-Pat, serving and going away and then coming back and folding into the community. So it's one of those unique opportunities. So a little bit about our active partnerships. Obviously, it's system-wide, which is one of the big draws to the military. So the military likes to have flexibility of, they have partnerships. I've been to partnerships in St. Louis, at also in Baltimore Shock Trauma, University of Las Vegas. I've been at these different partnerships, and often what happens is the military quickly outgrows the ability of those individual institutions to support. So one of the big draws with the military civilian partnership here is because we're able to tie into an entire network that really helps us to be able to leverage that support and fold them into multiple different opportunities. We all have opportunities for physicians, nurses, what we call technicians, surgical technicians. Kettering Health Main Campus does some specific plastic surgery and neurosurgery, also some gynecological and oncology support. And then you have your Soy Medical Center, obviously, that we're providing orthopedic surgery support, plastic surgery, general surgery, sterile processing, which is a critical function. It's not the highlight reel, but nothing happens in the surgery realm without those very highly trained folks that perform those duties on a daily basis. And then we have our critical care training center. Specific to plastic surgery, we have some Air Force surgeons that do some very unique surgeries that really aren't done probably within 300-400 miles of this area. There's Dr. Markov, Major Markov. He does breast reconstruction surgery. So folks that have had some sort of cancer and had to have mastectomies, he actually does a reconstructive surgery. We do those. We actually recover those patients on one of my units. The nurses love serving the community and providing that support to those folks. So there's some unique opportunities there that we're a part of, leveraging that very intelligent and highly coveted skills that some of the Air Force clinicians are able to provide us. So specifically, this is Wright-Patterson Air Force Base leadership. They had come over to visit, and we were able to showcase some of the areas within the hospital. You might recognize that guy right there. I didn't know they took that picture. Actually, I just recognized them in that big photo. So another tour. This is where we had some leadership come over. This is one of our ICU rooms where the critical care technicians actually come and perform. So a little bit of a history behind the training course, specifically the critical care enlisted training courses. We have enlisted medics, EMTs in the Air Force. They often serve in clinics. Sometimes they serve in emergency departments. Sometimes they serve as inpatient nurses, aides capacity, maybe a little bit more robust. Some of them are set to work in an ICU. So when you send someone who's not a licensed personnel into an intensive care unit with the intent of sending them overseas working in a tent hospital, there's a full suite of skills that need to be trained. So part of that suite of skills that need to be trained are just the hands-on skills. So historically, this was done at larger medical centers in the Air Force. But again, as the DoD medical infrastructure draws down, less and less opportunities for those high volume, high acuity touches. Embedding that course into our facilities allows those technicians to get those high volume, high acuity touches. So they spend a month here locally. They come from all over the United States. They do several weeks of didactics, and then they do what we call clinical rotations, where they're actually working alongside a licensed nurse in our ICUs, taking care of those patients. So it's a great opportunity for them to build their skills, develop their skill set. So when called upon and they have to deploy overseas, they will be able to function at the highest level of their skill set to which they've been trained, which is something we strive for quite a bit. We have some great corporate partners. Peerless Technologies partnered with us to help build what you see here. We have classroom space. We have space for up to, not classroom space, but office space for up to 21 individuals helping to run the course. So they have a place to hang your hat and work on curriculum development and working on those types of things. And then we have two different simulation rooms. The nice thing about the simulation rooms is the Air Force brings the mannequins. They bring the knowledge of how to operate the simulation at a very high level. They're using our space, but when we also get to leverage with our folks and your nurses serving your community, and physicians are actually able to use that space to do training. And again, some of that innovation and learning new techniques, we're able to do it real time right there in our building because of that win-win civilian military partnership. So it's a very unique opportunity there. Again, just some of the highlights there. 2 sim laboratories. We do have cameras. We provide real-time feedback for those folks when they're doing their skills training. We have the collaborative training across the board. So again, this is another opportunity. That's April Oliver, one of the nurses there. This was what I was talking about, Dr. Markov. This is the plastic surgery. Again, that first microsurgical free tissue transfer. It was at Swain Medical Center. Again, part of that breast cancer reconstruction. And then some folks doing orthopedic surgery. If you want to know why your orthopedic surgeries cost so much, it's because they have to wear these bougie air-conditioned suits. So I have a very good friend who's an orthopedic surgeon. I always think that. But this is because of the risk of contamination, everything. This is what orthopedic surgery looks like now, as more technology is brought to and drive less infections and better outcomes for everybody. So that completes my presentation. I'd be willing to field any questions that you all might have. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to just come and connect with the community and share a little bit about what we have going on at Swain and Kettering Health in general.
One of the people in this room had part to play in some legislation that allowed military connected people with licensures in other areas to immediately come in and matriculate into the practice here. Have you seen that, and how's that impact?
Come on, I get called out when I'm not here and I don't get. Okay, let's go.
Sorry, it's Rick Corral.
Good question.
So yes, the environment has definitely changed over the last 20 years as we build more of these civilian military partnerships. Those types of initiatives from states to make it easy to take transferable skills and immediately plug them into the community are absolutely priceless, not only for DoD military readiness, but on a personal level, alleviating some of that stress. So anything that's done in that realm of, if you have your spouse is either a physician or really any part of a military or medical type of skill set, being able to go from state to state and immediately plug in is absolutely huge. makes a real impact to those families because it can take a while for licensure and those types of things to come on board. So yeah, it definitely is better. We're still working through some of those things. We're looking at what does the enlisted skill set look like and how can we get them to function at their highest skill level and recognized by the appropriate state agencies. So that's something we talk through our Center for Nursing Excellence all the time, where Eli Smith at the network level works those issues and yeah, makes a huge impact. So thank you. Great question.
Good question.
Mine's just a general thanks to your team. I can't remember all the departments you said that were under you, but my wife and I were there back in March. I learned a lesson that many of y'all probably learned a long time ago. Not trying to call you all. But I didn't realize like when a woman's in labor, it's really just nurses. The doctor kind of show up, stole the stage there for a fleeting moment and then disappeared. And so for the 30 or so hours we were there, the nursing team and maternity work were just phenomenal. And I mean, while we were excited to go back to our home, one, I think it's terrifying still that they just, you have to study and take a test to drive a car, but they're like, here, you can have this and go home with it now. But the 30 hours being there was such a phenomenal experience. The whole nursing team, everyone we interfaced with, maternity ward it was such a positive experience. And so I don't know if that's under you or tangentially you, but that's time.
Tangentially, so that's Caleb Benson's team. Tracy Hahn has been there since Soin is open. Unfortunately, part of being in a community is sometimes folks transition. So Tracy, the manager who's been the manager of the OB team at Soin, is moving to family out in Utah. We're trying to get her to stay, but that team is doing some phenomenal things. So I'll give you a little stat. They did in the month of August, I think it was 98 births. So in 1 month, they did 98 deliveries in that unit. So and it's not like you can just find OB nurses that are like everyone across the board is labor shortages everywhere. It exists with our teams as well. So the team that was there and in place really did a phenomenal job of just sticking through it. It was challenging at times. There were some very, very busy, heavy days, but they really stayed the course and did a phenomenal job. So I appreciate the feedback. I'll be glad to take that back to Kayla and celebrate her team and Tracy.
One of the nurses I thought was interesting was she was like, I'm signing off for my shift, and then the nurse who replaced her was her daughter. Was hilarious. She had been there for so many years. Now her daughter was working in the same unit. They were working on the same team. I just thought that was testament to work culture that the family is working.
Absolutely. That's not unique. Actually, in my division, I have one of my night shift charge leaders, Miss Legenkamp. Her daughter also works but they don't work at the same unit because with Tasha being in a leadership position, she's like, yeah, I can't have Kayla working for me. And she's like, see, that's not going to work well. So, but they work closely, but not that close. But yeah, it's not unique. There's a lot of folks that have been with Kettering, been with Soin, really love, again, serving the community. It's a faith-based organization. We try to live it every day. It's ingrained into, again, that fabric of the care that we provide to the community.
First, I want to thank you for your service.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate that. I did 9.
And you're still married to the same wife.
I am, yes.
Dude,
I
that's
am.
gonna be a record.
Absolutely, right? I know.
Just share with this.
Actually, go ahead. No, go ahead. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, she probably says, okay, you've been retired a year. When are you going away? Like, so I think there might be some to the 9 and staying together versus the opposite.
So we have a lot of vets here, a lot of the people that have served and been overseas, and tell us an experience, 8 tours over there, different conflicts. Tell us something that comes to mind, an experience you'll never forget over there.
Sure. I've got several. I'm trying to make sure I view it through a positive lens. There were certainly some challenges there. So there's a guy named Ranger Oliver Campbell. You can probably look him up on YouTube or Google. So Oliver Campbell was a ranger. My team, 6-person special ops surgical team, had deployed to Afghanistan. We were in country less than 24 hours, and were headed out on our first mission. Oliver they were doing a high-risk arrest. He was part of a ranger company performing security. came around a walled compound and there was a little hole in the side of the wall where somebody put an AK-47 and shot him 3 times in the chest, twice in the plate and one just above the plate. So the Afghan team that was with him scooped him up on a stretcher, tried to get him to the evacuation zone. The litter kept breaking. His adrenaline was pumping, so he literally got up and walked himself to the helicopter landing zone, started to decompensate. And one of those, again, unique military innovations, freeze-dried plasma. They were able to administer freeze-dried plasma, perked him up. They put him on a helicopter, and there was another surgical team on that helicopter flying to we were on the back of an airplane. So when they landed, the helicopter right beside the plane that we were on, right as they were landing, Oliver basically died on the table. He became unresponsive. We were able to successfully resuscitate him there on the back of the helicopter, put him on the plane, flew him to Bagram Air Force Base. We did surgery in flight, and he lived. And so Oliver's story is about 100 days after his initial injury, he was ready to come back on active duty.
In your first 24 hours.
In our first 24 hours in country, it was the team that we were replacing was really upset because they're like, oh yeah, we've been sitting here for 2 months, nothing going on, and you guys get an exciting mission. But Oliver survived. About 100 days after his initial injury, he was wanting to do push-ups again, wanting to get back on status. Unfortunately, he never came back on status, but did end up marrying a nurse who was taking care of him, and is actually now going to Dartmouth. And I talked to him, and it's just amazing just being a part of something like that, just being around another human being so dedicated to their team, so dedicated to giving their best every day to just heal and get better and get back in the fight. Was truly my pleasure to perform the duties I did of making sure that our very best and brightest of America were able to make it home to their families.
Thanks for sharing it.
You're very welcome. Absolutely.
Okay, already signed here. I appreciated too that gentleman here signed it and then put his job and where he works, because I told him, I said, usually, you know, people just like illegibly scribble, and some 6-year-old is like, scribbles, thank you, scribbles. So they will know that who actually dedicated this book. But the book is The Scarecrow, seasonally topical. So we'll be donating this to the Beavercreek Library on your behalf. Thank you so much, and thank you, Beth, for that. Next week's greeters, Alex Zahara, you get to go again. Thank you. 2 weeks in a row. Wow, so nice. And Mr. Chris Hadley. Next week's speaker will be Chris Stanley. Many of y'all know him from the Fisher House. And let's see, I think next week is board meeting too, immediately following the weekly meeting. So board meeting, please stick around for that if you'd like. Beavercreekrotary.com and Facebook for upcoming programs. Anything else for the good of the club? Oh, yes, ma'am, please. Yep. Take your time.
I'm from the Greene County Fish Food Pantry. We serve all of Greene County now. I'll briefly give you some statistics. Before COVID, we were serving 500 families a month. During COVID, we went up to 1,300 families a month. We leveled out last year at 750 families a month. This year, our lowest number so far has been 895. Last month, we did 1,170, and that is in shopping. They get to come into our organization and shop just like at a grocery store. We put out per week 17,000 pounds of food, 147,000 pounds a month. Over last year, we're at 1,500,000 pounds of food went out of our facility. We are under no umbrella. We are solely funded by donations, the community, donations of food, money. We apply for any grant we can apply for. We've moved in the past 2 years from a 2,200 square facility to where we didn't pay for anything.
to a facility that is now 9,200 square feet, which enables us to care for all of Green County. We do have to pay all of the utilities. When we first moved there and I saw the grass getting taller and I'm like, I wonder who's gonna mow that grass. But it was so nice to explain to me that he let me have the building. I had the grass too, and the snow removal and the utilities and all of that, which he had took care of before. So that was a rude awakening, but we are, my main reason for being here on the 22nd of October, and that's what these flyers are. We are putting out, we're doing a spooktacular. It's to raise awareness about the pantry. There will be vendors, there will be all kinds of, we have a fire truck, we're gonna have a mini tractor pull for the kids, all kinds of things for kids. And this blue, this gives you a little bit about our pantry. Fish is not fish. Fish stands for friendship and service to humanity. You wouldn't believe how many calls we get and want to know what kind of fish we're serving. We are true, we take care of our veterans a little differently than we do other people. A lot of them have PTSD. They have service dogs that don't mix well with big crowds. So we do our veterans and military families on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of each month. And they can come in and we have coffee and donuts. We have other veterans come in and just sit and talk to them. They enjoy it. It seems to be it makes them feel like it's not a handout, which veterans, I don't care who you are, you're prideful and they don't want to come in and take something that is handed to them. A lot of them will come in and hand me $1, a $5, and everybody says, oh, don't take that. I said, that's it. That's their way to make this okay, and I'm fine with it. They are very, very important to us, and we are selling raffle tickets. I'll plug them. For our event on October 22nd. And the reason for that is we're trying to raise money we're going to hand out 800 Thanksgiving meals this year. Turkey, pumpkin pie, rolls, green beans, stuffing, the whole smear, enough to make a huge meal. I started early in locating everything because I was afraid we'd run into trouble. I have now 800 turkeys located. I just have to catch them, but no. November 3rd. So my main thing right now is needing money to pay for all the good Thanksgiving stuff, but we have enough to do 800. My only fear is that with the 1170 families that we did last month, October, November, and December are our biggest months traditionally. So I only see it going up. I predict by the end of the year, we'll be up at 1,300 families a month. Last month, we had 115 new families that had never been to a pantry before. We try to make them feel like they're trying to remove the stigma from a food pantry. We make it an enjoyable experience. They get to shop, they get to choose. We don't just throw food at them, and teaching respect to any volunteer that volunteers there. So we appreciate the time. I'm the talker, Rick knows. I come and I talk, and I'm very passionate about the pantry. I've been with them since 2013. We've grown, we've expanded. We used to not take care of the whole Green County, but we do now. So if not only do we need help supporting us, but we also want to make aware anybody that knows anybody that needs food in Green County, please send them our way. It's very, very easy. 12 to 3 on Wednesday and Thursday, 9 to 11 on the Saturdays for the veterans. And we appreciate any volunteers who love to come and help, because we are an older community. My oldest volunteer is 93. She comes the 3rd Wednesday of every month. She's the breadling, but we have volunteers of all ages, and we always are in need of volunteers. Anybody have any questions about that?
There's a good couple, Walmart, they have the Wingate Foundation, which is major grants, but local Walmarts have up to $5,000 grants. Target does up to $500 gift cards, and Costco's, if you take a form in, their local store can give.
I take advantage of the Walmart. I know the manager, Shane, at Walmart. We pick up twice a week from Walmart, 7 days a week from Kroger's in Xenia, 3 days a week from Beavercreek, Kroger's, once a week from Aldi's.
Dunkin' Donuts, I see y'all there too.
Yeah, our donuts from Blaze Donuts.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for coming, for sharing that with us. October 22nd, spectacular flyers on your tables. Pledge of Allegiance, Daniel, would you mind leading us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Oh, that was good.